Welcome to Roll for Lore. My name's Sean.
And my name's Jessica.
Today we're talking about
The cosmos and the birth of Shar and Selûne.
Hit the Theme!
Already messed it up.
All right, podcast, activate, ready,
Ready,
go!
go!
Is that how we're going to... Let's just start the podcast with podcast, activate, ready, go.
That's probably better than what we currently have. Maybe we need to workshop it a little bit more, though, I think that we should probably add some lyrics to our theme song. Maybe that will help with our listeners.
Add lyrics to our theme song?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a lyricist?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to take inspiration from your talks about bards from our last podcast.
So the lyrics would be like the history of your family lineage?
Oh, God, yes. That will be a really, really short and boring list.
We'll use the word bequeathed a lot. Ooh,
that's a tricky word. That's a little tough. But I'll try it out. Not right now on the podcast, though.
Okay.
How was your day?
Oh, my day was long and fun. Did a lot of things.
Ooh.
Had a scary call today. I had a scary call at work, but everything was fine. Everything was great.
All right. I guess everything in that call doesn't have anything to do with me, right?
Nothing to do with you.
Okay, good.
No.
Good.
No.
See, look, I'm already paranoid. I'm always paranoid that I've done something wrong.
It was just a client wanted us to do a seemingly impossible task, and then we got on the phone with somebody who could actually explain what needed to be done and not just the marketing person. And we're like, oh yeah, we'll have that done in like an hour. No big deal. There's literally 11 people on a call that's scheduled for an hour.
Oh my God.
And it really just two people needed to have an email.
Email, yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We do that a lot here.
Well, it was people from two different companies. Anyway, it was the whole thing.
It was a whole thing.
Yeah, but it turned out to be fine. I was really nervous about it. Then all day long, and then it was just fine. And I ate at Chipotle, and it was delicious. I love Chipotle. What'd you have for lunch today?
I tried this new place called Sweet Green. It's just like a health, like fresh food place. It's kind of like Kava, but less pickled and more fresh. Yeah, it was delicious. I don't know. I think I will probably maybe not go there again just because I feel like the price for what I got was not worth it. But needless to say, this isn't a food podcast. I'm not very good at talking about foods, I guess.
No, you're not very good at eating foods either. You are gluten intolerant.
I am gluten. Oh, God, here we go. Yes, yeah.
It's like the last thing you can make fun of.
It's okay. So
your belly can't handle bread.
That's why I was like, I'm trying these new places and these new foods, and they're great. Most of the things have been great, but I just feel like my personality has changed to like gluten-free, and I'm trying to avoid that. I'm so bad, but.
Well, I've changed my personality. I'm in solidarity with you. I'm going low carb.
Ooh.
I haven't had carbs for 3 days now.
Okay.
So
are you substituting with anything cool?
No, just meat and cheese, baby. Let's go. Meat and cheese.
Yeah, that's a good diet plan.
And so last time I went to our favorite burger spot, I got the salad. It was delicious.
Oh.
So you and I, whenever we go places, we'll just bug waiters about carbs and gluten.
Does this have gluten in it?
Yeah.
It's awkward, but I'm getting past it and finding new fun things.
Can you eat corn tortillas?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mexican food.
Yeah.
Just Mexican food all day. Let's go.
And this makes sense because I have a friend and I hope they're listening. I think they're listening. They are gluten intolerant and they always eat Mexican food, and it makes sense to me now. They love the tacos. They love the dishes that they serve in Mexican food, and that's because you can get it gluten-free. See, I told you, I struggle at small talk.
This small talk, we're killing it.
We're talking about food.
Small talk. We've been small talking for exactly 4 minutes now.
Ooh.
So let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. So I'm glad we got that done with.
Now, I would like to just say
yes,
that I am so excited about this topic. It's one of the topics I considered making my first one, but I was a little intimidated by it. So this is brave.
Okay, that's great.
I feel like it's a great starting place. Like, let's
Exactly.
understand the big picture, you know?
You made me feel like there's a little bit of pressure. I do think it's definitely confusing, and that's why I went into it. So I did say the last episode that I recorded for my section was going to be on Shar and Selûne. I changed my mind because as I was researching them and looking more into the lore, there was just so much about realms and different planes and the Shadowfell, and I was just like, I first, before I need to continue, I need to straighten this out in my head. So because I felt that way, I was wondering if maybe some of y'all felt that way. So we're going to start there today. But I do promise to talk about the birth of Shar and Selûne to start off, or the conversation about Shar and Selûne. And then episodes after that, we'll do some stuff on them. But let's talk about it. I do want to introduce this topic with some like vocabulary, which sounds so school teachery. I'm so sorry, but I need to because again, I was super confused, and I want to help y'all out too. So, in the D&D universe, there's a lot. It's kind of like the multiverse for like Avengers and Marvel comics and stuff. There's different planes and realms, and there's alternate dimensions that have their own names, and all of these kind of interact with each other. So a realm is like a game setting in D&D. So it's like the planet that the game is happening on. Normal space and time for that planet, and they within a realm, it's kind of up to the DM as to like how those planets interact with each other. So it's pretty open. Then there's things called planes. One of them is the prime material plane. That's like a main world, like an Earth, or I do have it in here somewhere how to pronounce it, but we'll get to it in a second. Terrell or Terrell. God, you guys are going to roast me for that one.
And there's also O-Earth.
Oh, there is O-Earth. I'm going to talk about O-Earth too. So planes, I keep saying the word planes. Planes are just dimensions. So think about any of those superhero movies. And then we're going to talk about places called parallel dimensions, which are just like essentially planes that are a different version of an existing plane, where things are happening simultaneously, but like in different ways. So that's my confusing intro about all these vocabulary. And then we can jump into what is called cosmology. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's pronounced correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
not to be confused with cosmetology.
I had to be very careful because I think I've said that a couple times when speaking about this topic with other people. Good old D&D cosmetology. So like cosmology, the concept of that within the D&D universe is throughout the editions, there have been different ways they've handled how like planets and realms interact with each other. There's essentially 3 different ways they've handled it, and they're called the Great Wheel cosmology, which was prominent in the first and the second editions. We have the World Tree cosmology that presented in the 3rd edition, and then World Axis cosmology, which was featured in the 4th edition. And essentially, we'll get to the part, but that one was so bad that they went back to, I think it was the Great Wheel cosmology or something similar that's more linear. So we've gone through quite the journey in the D&D universe about how time and space interacts with each other. So like I mentioned, the Great Wheel cosmology was the first type of universe, D&D universe. It was the earliest and the most enduring. And like I said, it was featured in the 1st and 2nd and now the 5th editions. So it visualizes the multiverse as like a wheel with like a material plane at its hub and other planes arranged around like spokes. So I kind of think of like a microbe or something, like
not a wheel. You don't think of a
nope,
wheel?
I don't think of wheels. I think of a microbe.
Technology is built in. It's already a wagon wheel.
Nope, I see it as a microbe because it has to be 3D, right? So okay.
Now
I can be self-conscious about that. Okay, cool.
I
So
pictured the cartoon drawing of COVID-19 virus that was everywhere.
yeah,
That's what you're picturing, right?
essentially, yeah. Or like the little, I don't know, I think it was like third grade, we made little microbes
Where
with
you
like
stick the toothpicks into the orange with the marshmallows.
Yeah, yes. That's
Yeah.
what they were, right? Or
Right.
they were
That's what I did.
God, yeah. So anyways, so
God, you eat so many oranges as a child. Oranges aren't a very big part of my adult experience.
that's true.
Though I did buy some black plumbercots at the store the other day.
Do you think our listeners know we're hungry
Oh,
from this podcast?
it is currently 7:16 p.m. I went to lunch at 11:30.
I know. That explains it.
I've not had any food today.
Yeah, that explains it. Yeah, that we're it's a little bit late, but
But
we'll
anyway,
get through it.
plumbercots are great.
Clumbercott.
Plumbercot. It's a plum apricot
Oh.
hybrid.
Okay.
I-
That was a pivot in my head. Okay, I get it. Where do you buy those?
Sprouts.
I need to get one of those. Okay. I'm writing a note in my D&D notes. Go get plumbercots after.
Yeah, they're delicious.
They sound good. Okay, so when you're thinking of the Great Wheel cosmology, think of like a bunch of plumbercots that have been toothpicked together. So in this type of universe, there are notable planes, which include the material plane. So the material plane is often described as the center or starting point of adventures in D&D. So like how I said, realms are your like world that the campaign's set in. The material plane is like, it would be Earth. Like Earth is a material plane existence. It acts like it's similar to the real world in terms of like physics and biology and recognizable environments. So
and calendar.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I could be wrong about this, but doesn't the Forgotten Realms just straight up have the Julian calendar?
Gosh, I feel embarrassed because literally while I was researching this, it started going into the calendars and I was like, I don't need that for this podcast. So I'm sorry, I don't have the answer.
I could maybe it's one of the D&D worlds. I don't know which one.
Okay.
Maybe I don't think it's Eberron. I think Eberron has their own made up one. But one time I was looking up some stuff about D&D and I was just like, oh yeah, this such and such happened in November. Oh. And I was like, what?
Yep. I will write that down as a question to follow up with because, like I said, I'm in my school teacher mode right now. So.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll be a good student.
No, you're doing good. You're doing great. I want to talk to you about this. So that's the material plane. Has natural laws, balanced elements, connection to other planes, cultural and magical diversity, just like Earth. So then there's the inner planes. Now, these are the elemental planes and the ethereal plane.
Ethereal.
That you had asked the question the other day about what was the elemental plane. So here's the answer. It's the fundamental realms that consist of pure elements only. So you got the planet of Earth, the plane of Earth, the plane of fire, the plane of water. And I read a cute little fun fact that like the commodities when they're like selling between worlds, like the water planet and the fire planet, they trade water and it's like a huge scarce and like really high value commodity. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It makes me think of that Disney movie that I haven't even seen, but there's one about like water elementals, right? And
oh yeah, it's called Elemental.
Oh, great.
It was not good. It was not for children at all. It was just for grown-ups. It was...
Oh, really?
It was an adult-themed drama. It's like you would not...
Really?
Like you probably can't really appreciate the nuances of what this movie is saying about life until you've lived a full life. You gotta be like 75, 80 before you can appreciate this movie.
Was it at least pretty for kids? Just like...
Yeah, my daughter loved it.
Okay. Well, so that's the elemental plane. They live there in the elemental plane. Then there's the ethereal plane, which connects the inner planes to the material plane. So it's kind of like, it described it as a misty, ghosty realm, which made me laugh. But it's a place where the soul might travel to reach final destinations. There's only one of these, and there's only one of the elemental planes. So that's important to know. Then we have the outer planes, which are... they're aligned with the various moral and ethical alignments. They're home to the gods and demons. So we'll talk about the outer planes a lot over the next couple of weeks as I cover the main gods. Then we have the astral plane. That's the conduit between the other planes. That's where I think in D&D you draw your magic from, or Mistra something something?
Some classes.
I guess we'll figure that out
Some stuff,
later.
Not all. Yeah.
And then elemental chaos. And I just wrote that down because I kept seeing it pop up in my research. And one of the YouTubers that I watched, he described it as like a forge of the gods. So when the chaos of matter and energy forms at this mixing point of pure and positive and pure negative energy, that's called the elemental chaos. And like things came out of that and like were formed from it. It's more prominent in the world axis cosmology over what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I always thought it was a 4th edition thing.
It is, but they like mentioned it at some point within this, which I can't give you all context. I'm so sorry. So I needed to write a note about it because it came up later. So I'm a little out of order, but that's okay. So in this cosmology, like I said, they're all kind of connected like a wheel. Then when you get into the 3rd edition, we have the world tree cosmology. Now this is where I thought this cosmology was cool. This one was my favorite one because it stemmed in essentially real life Earth mythology, if that makes sense, like Norse mythology. So it's presented in the 3rd edition, like I said, and it conceptualized the universe as like a massive tree called, I said I was going to look up how to say it. It's Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil. I'm going to look up right now how to pronounce it. And we're actually going to edit this part out this time.
No, probably not.
I know.
Editing takes so long. So while you're looking it up, I want to say this for all my Magic the Gathering girlies out there. This is the Great Henge, which Magic the Gathering has a cosmos that's pretty much the same as the 3rd edition cosmos or the Norse mythology cosmos. And it is relevant to this podcast because Magic the Gathering settings are also within the Dungeons and Dragons setting. So there's that. But yeah, so if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering or basically how the Rainbow Bridge and Thor works.
Oh, cool.
That's basically what we're talking about. You got to like go from your plane of existence through a tree.
Yeah.
And then to another plane of existence.
I have to play a video. Or not.
Does it? It's probably trying to play it through your microphone because your microphone is also a speaker. Because we're using.
It's not connected to my computer.
Oh yeah, it's connected to my computer. Oh, what are we talking about?
I don't know. Well,
just commit. Just say it one way, and we'll all agree with you that that's right.
It's gonna be Yggdrasil. I know
Yggdrasil is right. That's right.
Okay, so this
sounds a lot like.
I'm just gonna say the world. It does. No. God dang it. That's gonna be the worst meme.
We said in episode 0 that we were gonna say cuss words on this podcast, and then we never did.
I thought I said one curse.
You said
one curse.
You said one crap. Like that's it.
Shit.
Yeah, there you go. We gotta. I checked the little box that were not for kids.
We talked about seduction. You know how I know that? Because my dad said, not really thrilled that you're going to talk about something about seduction on a podcast. And it was really funny.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not.
That was a sarcastic sorry towards your dad. It's going to happen.
Okay, good.
Next episode, we're talking about succubuses.
Are we really?
That you are now.
Oh, okay.
Just to piss your dad off.
Please.
Okay. There's also incubuses. So there's boy ones too.
I'm actually fascinated. Can we pause the podcast and talk about? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I want to.
Jordan would make a good incubus. Jordan could play an incubus. Jordan's current character might become an incubus. I just now had a great idea.
Please do it. Don't.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Jordan, skip this.
Jordan, stop listening. Okay, so there is a world tree. Named something with a Y. And this model emphasizes more organic connections between the planes, whereas the other one was a lot more structured. So I don't know what Wizards of the Coast was thinking, but they were like, we need it to be a little more fluid and like easier for, these worlds and realms to interact with each other. It gave me a list of key locations because this world tree is so big that essentially as you like go up it, it's these like stratifications of realms. The Roots is located in Dwarfholm and Arvander. The lower branches are home of the green fields, the house of the triad, and Dwemerhart.
These are basically where gods live.
Yeah.
Arthander's basically heaven, or
Yeah.
right? Arthander's like a Mount Celestial, basically.
I think so, yeah. And yeah, it's like exactly. And then the next one passes through the house of knowledge, and the last one's the gates to the moon. So it is kind of like this ascending thing. It says that the cosmic tree links the primal material plane through the astral plane to various other significant outer planes, with branches serving as dynamic portals. So like you said, you have to travel through the tree.
Like a squirrel.
Yeah, like a squirrel. There's a god called Ratatoskr and in the game Smite, and it like jumps on trees. I hope so.
A squirrel god?
It is. Oh my god, it's one of the coolest gods. I'm going to show you right after this podcast. Shout out to all my Smite people out there. We're few, but we're mighty. Very mighty. Okay. Lastly, I think I already said this, but in D&D, this world tree links the realms within the game, but it's akin to the Norse concept where the tree connects realms like Asgard, Midgard, and Helheim. That's what you said as well, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So that one was in 3rd edition. They decided to change it again in 4th edition to something called World Axis Cosmology. This one was confusing.
I think this was purposefully obfuscated. Like, they made this hard to understand so that you'll feel cool when you understand a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, God. That sounds about right, because I have very few notes on this section because I just didn't really understand what the differences were.
And also, like, nobody listening to this podcast is ever going to think about 4th edition again.
Is that true? Man,
yeah.
We need to do just an episode on you talking about why I should hate 4th edition, because I know nothing about it.
I'm not going to say you should hate it. I'm just going to say that, like, I'm just going to say that, like, when 4th edition came out, a lot of people are like, nah, I'm just going to stick to 3.5. And then when 5th edition came out, all the 4th edition people were like, yeah, let's switch to 5th edition. Like, it's that's the impression I get from reading things on Reddit.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I was trying to find, there was a YouTuber that kind of talked about it a little bit, and I got really excited and wanted to share it with you. But I'm not super sure. Maybe you can clarify this for me. I thought he had said that D&D 4th edition, a lot of people don't like it, but it's actually the skill system in it is so good for like video games that a lot of video games still base their skill systems off of that edition.
Well, I mean, every RPG video game is derived from 1st edition.
Yeah.
Like, D&D invented the idea of an RPG. So that's true. But I don't think that's a fair statement, because 4th edition's just WoW. Like,
okay.
4th edition's... I played World of Warcraft a little bit in high school. I tried playing it back in February. I had a friend. I tried, and I was just like, yeah, this is just 4th edition. Like, it's, yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. That's cool. That's interesting, because WoW would not, when I think about it, WoW would not translate really well into like a tabletop game.
Yeah, 4th edition was... 4th edition had much more crunch to the combat system.
Yeah.
And it did provide you, if you wanted a tactical, cool combat experience, let's get out the minis, let's get out the terrain, let's have like a really cool battle, we're bouncing around, we're doing strategies, we're fighting all these monsters, we're just going to play a tactical game. 4th edition was so much better for that than any other edition. But that's not how a lot of people, some people play that way, and 5th edition still does that. It's just 5th edition does everything else so much better.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, so 4th edition is just like a little too in the weeds. Well, they used World Axis Cosmology. In there was a mortal world, the astral sea, and the elemental chaos. And so the astral sea sat above the world, and it was home to the divine realms. the mortal world, which is the central plane. That's where most campaigns occur. And then there was the elemental chaos, which was below the world. And it was a tumultuous realm where elemental forces and the abyss converge.
And that's where the primordials live, which we talked about on the last episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're coming full circle. So it sounds a lot more simple, but because they simplified it so much, that's why it was like I was having a hard time finding the connections between. So like I eventually just had to like look up what are the key factors in the cosmology transitions to kind of understand why it happened or why it happened and what it caused.
Well, and also in the other editions, like the fire plane is just like a planet that's a bunch of fire, and the water plane is just a plane that's a bunch of water, and the earth plane is just a big rock, right? In the what do you call it? You just said it like 3 times.
The world axis.
And yeah, what was the elemental chaos? The elemental chaos is like all the elements, and they butt up to each other. They're all touching on this one giant like flat plane, or I guess maybe it's a sphere. I don't know. But so like when the water and the earth meet, there's a mud plane. And where the fire and the water meet, there's a steam plane. And so there's all these subplanes, and they were much more detailed in their descriptions, and there was more books about them and stuff, and like what kind of weird ass cities there were, and what weird people were in this place, and yeah.
Okay, that sounds kind of cool though. That sounds kind of cool. I like that there's like a steam plane.
Yeah,
like little steam guys.
They were like pseudo planes, or I guess would be the word, or they probably called it like Terra Nova or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that kind of sounded familiar. Yeah. Well, the factors that contributed to these cosmology transitions are essentially like each transition often reflects a shift in how the game is meant to be played, and what narrative elements are like emphasized. So it's really interesting, and we'll see a little bit about when I talk about Shar today, like how their roles change from each edition. So like in first edition, Selûne was considered like a minor god, but whereas Shar was considered a great god. And then by 4th edition, now Selûne is like a major god. So I thought it was interesting that it kind of pushes these cosmology makeups kind of push the narrative in a way that makes more sense with that edition. So for example, the world axis cosmology was more aligned with like an action-oriented, straightforward gameplay of 4th edition, like you just had said. And it's simplification versus expansion, essentially. So there's a balance between making the game accessible to new players and providing the depth and complexity for like veterans. So I think that's kind of goes into also what you said about like 4th edition, just like it kind of cut off or it made a barrier to entry that was a little too high for maybe new players because of all that number crunching. And they also reflect shifting in priorities between 2 goals, which is simplification for expansion. So that's kind of why they like changed it around so much. And just kind of to wrap up that bit, we are now back in the Great Wheel cosmology, which 5th edition switches back to. I did try to look up to see if there was much more provided by the new books that came out, and there isn't. But hopefully we'll get more material on like, I was reading some forums that Shar, there's still like a lot of ambiguity around Shar's followers and like what they mean, and where they're hoping for a book that reveals that quite soon. So that's interesting. I do have some facts about the different planes. So you mentioned earlier the Earth. It's Oerth, and
it's pronounced Earth.
Earth.
But it has an O in there, so you know it's fantasy. But it doesn't work on a podcast because if you say Earth, we just think
exactly. You're right. Yeah.
So like my favorite now defunct podcast that we rip off just a little bit, the Dungeon Cast, always just called it "Oh Earth" and expected everybody to know what they talked about. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we might steal that. Thank you for the brilliant podcast tip. So, "Oh Earth" is a material plane. We have the Iberian material plane, which is the originally was part of the same cosmos as Toril, and then it was separated by Ao into the cosmological twin. So we talked about that last time. There's a Terran material plane, and then there's the far realm. I'm really interested in the far realm because it described it as an external horrifying plane outside of known creation.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, and it's infamous for transforming visitors into monsters and being the origin of aberrations. So,
well, now we know how Jordan's going to turn into an incubus.
Oh, are we going to put him? Is he going to touch the far realm?
Yeah, I think so.
No, he'll love that. He'll love that. Stop listening to the podcast, Jordan. Stop right now.
No, we need you to finish it. The algorithm cares if you finish the podcast. Do not start this podcast unless you're going to finish it eventually. It doesn't have to be one sitting.
And that means all of you listeners.
And iTunes reviews.
Okay, I'm going to speed through some of these like finer things because I want to get to the cool stuff, which is Shar and Selûne. There's common worlds. A beer Toril is how you say that. A beer Toril is commonly just called Toril, and this world is the primary setting of the Forgotten Realms campaign. So it's the main one. And I looked up how to pronounce it, and that's how it says. It doesn't feel right in the mouth when I say it like that, but that's how it says it's pronounced. It features continents like Faerun, and we all know and love that one. And Karator, we all know and love it. Love Faerun.
That's where that one guy's from, Dritz Duarden. He's probably, I don't know. I haven't read those books. We're getting there. Elminster?
Oh yeah, there's something about Elminster in here too. There's Nerith, which was a central world in the default campaign setting for the 4th edition of D&D. It's known for its fallen empire. You know about that? Okay.
No, I don't.
I was like, I don't know anything about that. Maybe we'll get to that.
That's where the DR comes from. Remember, we talked about that.
Oh, we did.
We talked about that. That's where the DR comes from.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, and then there's Orith, or it's pronounced either Oyeth or fuck it. I'm not doing that shit. There's other worlds. There's other worlds in D&D. There's lots of worlds. We're going to talk about it later. There's Eberron.
Eberron's dope. That's where I always play.
Yeah, so
I know everything about Eberron.
Okay.
I have a giant poster in an elaborate frame above my mantle of Eberron. I love Eberron. Eberron's the best. Shout out to Keith Baker. Keith Baker is a god.
Dude, it's steampunky, right?
It's steampunky. He invented the artificer. That's where the artificer comes from.
See, that's why I was saying last episode that like the artificer's not doing well in the Strahd world. Like it's not making sense. Okay, and then there's Corinne, which is the world of the Dragonlance series.
Okay, I want to read some Dragonlance novels.
Okay.
Yeah, Dragonlance is crazy. You know why it's called Dragonlance?
No, I've never heard of it.
I'll give you 2 guesses. One, I'll just tell you. Never mind. Don't guess anything.
Well, shit.
This world is like, I don't know, governed, maybe not be the right word, but there's like these superhero-esque dudes that ride dragons with lances.
Freaking brilliant. We don't need to know any more information.
Yeah, and they fight evil dragons. They ride good dragons and they fight evil dragons.
That's beautiful.
And it's like 70s high pulp fiction.
I love that. I'm going to Google that after this.
I've never played in Dragonlance. I've never read the Dragonlance novels. I've told you everything I know about Dragonlance. But yeah, I think it's based off Gary Gygax's home campaign.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
I could be wrong about that.
Okay. Well, we'll have to fact check it. I wrote down some notes about how planar travel mechanics work because I was like, well, how it keeps saying travel between realms. How the F do people do? Oh, we can cuss. Fuck. How the fuck? It's hard for me. We're at my work. We record this at work. So I'm still in work mode a little bit, which means I'm just awkward and jittery. So planar travel mechanics. So there's spells that essentially do it, like plane shift and gate. Or there's artifacts like the Amulet of Planes that can help you travel between worlds. And also gods can help you do that as well. And then you have to like weigh the risks and the rewards that there's dangers of planar travel, like effects and you have to like deal with native inhabitants that you might not know, and there's physical laws of each plane. So it's apparently pretty risky to do this. It's not something that people are doing a lot, is like hopping between these planars areas. Does that sound right?
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cultural references and inspiration. So I took this as inspiration from your episode, because it was so cool that you talked about how bards were in real life, and I really loved it. So I want to talk about the roots of some of these universes. So it has mythological roots in Norse mythology, like we just mentioned, Greek mythology, Egyptian, and Mesopotamian mythology. So there's the alignment of the outer planes in D&D, where gods dwell and moral battles play out. That's from Greek mythology. Or the Egyptian concept of the ancient cultures contribute ideas of complex afterlives and divine rulers. Like that's like based on Egyptian mythology. So that's pretty interesting. There's a lot of literary influences that are fun. So like J.R.R. Tolkien's worlds, they had a profound impact on the development of D&D. So like their races, use of magic, and like this travel between dimensions of evil and good, like kind of came from them, like inspiration from them. And H.P. Lovecraft. I know all these D&D like people who really into D&D universe are like, duh, we know this, but this is new to me, and I'm really, really excited about this. H.P. Lovecraft, I understand why that one, how that one's influenced.
Yeah.
I understand that one way too well. Thank you. Thank you, Baldur's Gate, and weird choices that you can make in that game. Robert E. Howard, Conan the Barbarian series contributed to some of their the world building, and Fritz Leiber, is that how you say it? Leiber? Anyways, those helped influence, and I have a couple fun facts. There are color pools in the astral plane and these pools appear as shimmering portals, and people can jump through them to other planes. And I think that's so fun for world building. Awesome. Gravity variations, like obviously, but I think it's hilarious that it can really impact how your characters move. Some people go as far as to like, if you travel between planes, there's like penalties to your carrying capacity and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then there's an infinite staircase. So there's an endless staircase that connects an intermediate number of planes, and it is populated by a variety of creatures and deities. And finding one's way without getting lost forever is part of this enigmatic allure of the staircase. So that's also a really fun thing that you can.
Yeah, let's have a mini campaign set in an endless stairwell, and just like I'll have banging glutes by the end. Like,
so there's not doors or anything to go through. It's just
a staircase.
I went to a workout class before recording this podcast, and when he said climbing stairs for like glutes, it made me like shiver, because I am so sore right now. Okay. Anyways, that's enough about the cosmos. There's a cosmos. It's complicated. There's a lot going on. Is there anything you want to add that you know about the cosmos?
Did you come across anything about Sigil?
No, I didn't. What is Sigil?
Sigil is a campaign setting that I think has been, I don't think there's anything in 5th edition about it, but I know there was in 2nd edition and 3rd or 3.5. That's like this infinite material plane. It's infinite. Like you walk in a straight line forever and you're just always going straight. And it's where all the stuff lost in the other planes ends up. And it's a galactic hub. It's a little like that giant god's head in Marvel where like the scoundrels hang out. But it's like it's just a fun place to play, because you can say anything exists. Like you can just be like, hey, you're at a spaceport. There's the Millennium Falcon. And then it's kind of sci-fi, but it's still fantasy.
Oh, cool.
And and it's like gods can go there and just walk as normal people and just like hang out. Or I don't know if that's in the official rules or if that's just something we did in our campaign. But it's just this endless city. It's just a giant city. It's an endless city where everything that has ever existed in any setting can be found.
Wow.
And yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun to like visit, or we did a whole Sigil campaign once. That was a lot of fun.
That reminded me of one of the reasons why these universes are so complex, or like they have to make them so complex, is in the D&D world. When you have a homebrew world, like it becomes it exists now forever within the universe. So they need a way to like manage and maintain that. And I thought that was a pretty cool, interesting fact, because I haven't had the pleasure to play a homebrew yet.
Yeah, and every time you start a game in the Forgotten Realms, it's like it's like MCU style alternate universe.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. You're so right. Yeah, that's.
And you said you had something about Elminster in your notes?
It must be some buried in all these fun facts that I just had to skip over, because I do want to get to the birth of Shar and Selûne, and it's a little bit.
Oh, let's do it. Let's talk about Shar and Selûne.
It's a little bit more brief. So I want to talk about the birth of them, because they're, like I had mentioned in the AO episode, they're some of the first gods ever created, and their influence on the Forgotten Realms is major. And so a lot of the gods that I'm going to cover and talk about come from and are a direct result of Shar and Selûne's like interactions. So this is like, why am I like this? Every time I have a computer in front of me and there's another person in the room, I like click every tab instead of just looking at the one tab that I need. Anyways, anxiety problems. So Shar and Selûne represent like two fundamental cosmic forces. So that's why it kind of ties in with this episode on like the cosmos. So they're darkness and light, respectively. According to lore, at the beginning of time, there was only like one primordial essence, a formless, chaotic potential, and from this essence emerged two divine beings or sister goddesses. So when I said in the other episode about AO that he created them, I was a little bit wrong, so I'm correcting myself. He essentially allowed them to happen. So okay, let me defend that. So we got AO, but then we got the whatever mysterious being that controls him.
The Dungeon Master.
The Dungeon Master. AO, he asked AO to put everything in place so that chaos could create these forces themselves. So AO created all the realms and the worlds and like created the cosmic divine pool that they came from, and just kind of sat back and just let things happen. And that's Shar and Selûne were born from that. Selûne or Selûne is the goddess of the moon, the light, the stars, and navigation. And she's often depicted as a joyous, bright, and nurturing female figure. And then we have Shar, who's the goddess of darkness, night, loss, and forgetfulness. She embodies more of the mysterious, enveloping, and often fearful aspects of darkness. And I'm really excited to talk about her in more depth. But their birth, according to different creation myths. So this is a little bit about what I was talking about. So AO is tasked with the creation of the realm space. And possibly in preparation for the coming of mortal life, he allowed Selûne and Shar to respectively be created out of this cosmos. However, in like another version of it, AO created realm space, but afterwards did not intervene directly at all, and then didn't even create any cosmic pool for them to be created in, and just let nature take its course. So, it's all, why can't things just be simple in mythology?
I don't know.
Like, why do we have to have these cosmic pools?
Otherwise, it wouldn't be fun.
I guess that's true. It'd be predictable and boring, and then we wouldn't want to talk about it. But
don't think of it as complicated. Think of it as arcane.
Ooh, I like that. I need to shift my thinking. I need to think more like somebody.
Your reality is your perception.
Oh my God, here we go. And then that's what our podcast is. The rest of this.
Yeah. Now let's talk about shrooms.
Ooh.
No, I'm joking.
No. Okay. We're almost done, I promise. No, we're not. We're going to talk forever because you guys love this podcast. The interaction between Shar and Selûne led to the creation of much of the universe. The forces of light and dark that these deities command influence the various planes of existence. So like every time they do one of their little fights, it can ripple across time and space. And their cosmic battle mirrors the conflicts found throughout the D&D multiverse, such as the blood war between the demons, which I'm going to cover in an episode soon, and the devils in the lower planes. So why are we talking about all this? So Shar and Selûne, like I had just mentioned, essentially created all the universe after they came out of this pool. And so a little about their portfolios. Shar, I already said it was about darkness, forgetfulness, loss, and night. She also is like, remember how I talked about Ao allowed gods to take on portfolios? She at one point slew an underground god called Ibrandil and claimed the portfolios of his. So she was also the goddess of caverns, dungeons, and the Underdark, which I thought was kind of cool.
Which is where Dristordan's from. Full circle, baby.
Yes.
Full circle.
This is it's all connected.
Yeah.
It's all connected. I talked about this earlier, but I thought it was interesting. Their alignment changed. And maybe you know a little bit more about this. So when I was looking at alignments of the gods, so it's Shar in first edition, she was considered a greater deity. She was actually a greater deity in all editions, but her alignment changed. At one point, she was neutral evil. Most of the point, she was neutral evil. And then at one point, she was it just said like evil or something.
Well, you can't be just evil in D&D. You got to be neutral evil.
But it's in 4th edition.
Oh, I don't know. Okay,
never mind. I should have anticipated that. Okay, anyways, she's always been a greater deity and neutral evil, essentially. Her realm, like where she controls, is called the Palace of Loss, and her dominion is the Towers of Night.
Oh, hell yeah, that sounds epic.
I know, she's pretty cool. I love Shar. I'm going to, for sure, 100% be talking about her next time. She's so cool. Selûne, she is the goddess of the moon, stars, navigation, navigators, wanderers, questers, seekers, and non-evil lycanthropes. Lycanthropes. In the time of ancient Nethril, she was a greater goddess. So like I had mentioned, Shar was a greater deity pretty much always, but Selûne started as a lesser deity. Which is interesting. And then she went to an intermediate deity in 2nd and 3rd edition, and then a greater deity in 4th, 5th, and current edition. So she got promoted. She must have been doing really good. She worked her way up. Yeah,
she climbed that corporate ladder.
She did. She either slew and or merged with lots of gods. I still need to look up what the hell merging of two gods, how that works. But this isn't the birds and the bees talk. They don't do that kind of merging. They just become two gods, or one god and two. Why do these goddesses hate each other? So if you don't know anything about D&D, Selûne and Shar hate each other, even though they were twin sisters and they were born and they're supposed to love each other. When they so they created a goddess at one point called Shanti, I think that's how it's pronounced. It has a CH in the beginning. She embodied all matter. And she initially worked with Shar and Selûne to bless worlds with life. So she was essentially like the creator of life, while Shar and Selûne were working together to create the cosmos. And at one point, Shanti asked, hey, like, I need more warmth and light for life to exist on the planet. So Selûne, we're going to need more light over this world. And Shar was like, well, that's not fair. I don't want to split those responsibilities like that. It sounds like you're going to have way more power. No, it needs to be even. And she's like, well, life can't exist. So when she requested warmth to support more life, Shar and Selûne had their first fight, which is still going on. And they were really divided on whether or not they should let life flourish. So that's when they had this big battle that happened, or not big battle, but this big world-defining battle that happened. And I'm going to talk about that next time because that will be the beginning of Shar's story. But yeah, so Ao kind of created the cosmos, but Shar and Selûne created everything that we care about, as far as like the worlds go. So that's them. That's them in the cosmos. That's what they have to do with each other.
You tackled 2 incredibly complex topics and did an excellent job.
Oh, thank you. I felt a little self-conscious this time because it was, man, I don't know why I kept saying AO was complicated. The cosmos was the most complicated.
I mean, you covered like 3 different versions of it.
I know. Well, I had to because
you covered 3 cosmos and 2 gods.
Y'all will see.
This was a Sam's Club style episode.
When I talk about Shar, you'll see why I had to talk about this first, because I just got so confused so fast. Like, where the shit are all these gods going? So that's it. That's my podcast. Why am I so tired now? That was a lot.
You talked absolutely nonstop for an even 50 minutes.
That's a lot. That's a lot of talking.
Yes. Yeah. Great job. You knocked it out of the park.
Thank you. Okay. Well, let me know.
I have no questions.
You have no questions?
You covered everything so thoroughly.
Probably too thoroughly yet again.
Yeah.
But it's okay. What do you guys think? What do you want to hear more of and less of? Like, do you want to hear more of these connections with the real world, or am I just a big nerd? Or do you want to hear a little bit less about these nitty-gritty details?
Tell us in the iTunes comments.
Yes, with a 5-star review.
They got a new thing on Spotify. I'm a big fan of podcasts on Spotify now because they added to where you can add comments like YouTube style to podcast episodes, to individual episodes. And
ooh.
Yeah.
So do that. Leave a
comment on Spotify.
Do you guys remember that Sean promised that if you guys request a topic, whatever it is, he's going to cover it?
If it's in the iTunes comments and iTunes
okay.
review. And on a 5-star review.
I had to hold back so hard to not take advantage of that. Like, I almost made an account and requested something super obscure just to mess with you.
I would love it.
I know you would.
Also, by the time this episode is up, the Patreon will be live. The Patreon's free. We're going to have bonus episodes in the Patreon.
Yeah.
We're going to post our notes in the Patreon. We'll post other stuff just randomly. We'll post polls.
Yeah.
And you can also message us there too if you want to just say hi.
We have emails now.
Oh, yeah. You can email us.
Yeah. It's our name, which I'm Jessica.
And I'm Sean.
I just feel like that's how you have to do it.
Your name's spelled traditionally.
Yes.
My name's SEAN.
At rollforlore.com.
Yeah, rollforlore.com.
Please only say nice things.
Yeah, you can say mean things, but no, actually don't. Just don't say mean things.
Actually, say the meanest thing you can. I dare you.
Yeah.
After a 5-star review, though.
Say the meanest thing you want, but it doesn't count unless you start your own podcast and say it.
Oh, that's
fair. If you're
fair.
just saying it in an email, get bent. But if you're saying nice things in an email, it counts like 100.
I like how we started this podcast awkwardly talking about food and we're ending it so aggressively.
Give us your comments.
Hate us.
Validation. we need validation. We're both burnt out GT kid millennials, older siblings with tummy issues.
Lots of them.
We need your validation.
Yep. We need you to tell us why we did it good.
Yes, please.
All right, with that.
Words of affirmation.
Please. Okay, well, we did it.
The Patreon's free.
Free. Join it. Subscribe. Okay. What do you do?
What's our catchphrase? Thanks for rolling with us.
Yeah, thanks for rolling with us.